studio lighting. There we go. Um, it is 64 degrees and raining out here. And it's supposed to be weird weather like this, pretty much the week, in the 60s. But the thing is, if you've lived in Ohio, you're used to this. Because we have weird weather every year. That's why I die laughing and thumb my nose at, you know, the climate change guys. Because I'm like, weather is going to change. Whether you do nothing or fart or set fire to your cabbage, whatever. I don't know what turns you on. But weather's going to change. And if that weren't true, then how come where I'm sitting right now was underneath an ice sheet over a mile thick just about 12,000 years ago? All right, but now we're back in sync because the clock's changed in America finally. And I'm like, I'm really hoping that this practice gets abandoned in the near future because there's no longer any practical use for it. It's just a waste of time, literally. But, okay, weird things going on. I just noticed something, and oh God, it's going to hit me in 5 minutes whose account it was, because I glanced at this morning. Now, as y'all know, Chicago Tartars, we got Joe Martin, Sacha Dhawan, amongst many, many other great folks, who've contributed to Doctor Who over the years, Doctor Who, and it's going to be amazing. But I just found out something interesting. Well, actually, it was last night, and I glanced at it again this morning. Apparently, I know this ain't the weird part. It's coming. So everybody sit down if you're not. As we all know, Joe Martin being the fugitive doctor, and yeah, she said that she had met Ncuti Gatwa. Now here comes the weird part. She's not allowed to talk about it. She's met Ncuti Gatwa, but she's not allowed to talk about it. Now, hopefully this doesn't mean they weren't, hanging out, at one of the Diddy freakout parties, which I highly doubt they were. Okay? Don't even give that idea any credence, all right? So, interesting. Very interesting. Like I said, I'm not going to say definitely, but I found that to be very, very interesting. I'm not going to go crazy because I died laughing because Katie Manning has a picture with Susan Twist up, but I'm like, this took place recently. I'm like, well, for one, unless Susan Twist is going to make a real, she said something about working with her, but I'm like, I'm not going to go off the deep end because, well, I know that the ending of Series 2 is supposed to tie back to Space Babies. Yeah, I could have used the clickbait title. Yeah, I could have. But I'm not going to. So, yeah, someone just mentioned the word gay. I'm like, well, apparently Chloe Grace Moretz came out as gay. And I'm like, and like I said, I'm happy that, you know who you are. You're living your life. But why do I have to know this? It's like, but, So, yeah, Katie Manning, who we all know as Joe Grant from Doctor Who, is worked on something with Susan Twist. Interesting, but okay, like I said, we'll sit back and wait and see if anything else develops on that before we go crazy ape shit, all right? It's just... But I thought that interesting that Joe Martin said, yeah, she's met Ncuti Gatwa, but she's not allowed to talk about it. Oh, that's right, yeah. Thank you for reminding me, Mark. I was going to mention that this morning. We are off when we have national election, for presidential, I mean. It used to be we got every election day off, but now we only get presidential election day off. So we will be off tomorrow. There's not going to be any parking lot tomorrow. Now I got to double check because I think we might be off this Saturday and then we work the next two. I got to double check that because this coming Monday, if memory serves, well, it's coming up soon, is, it is this coming Monday, is Veterans Day. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks, and I think we work next weekend. I got to double check. But I'll let you know when I find out. So yeah, we are off tomorrow. So there'll be no parking lot tomorrow. Keep that in mind. I know you'll all miss me, but we must part for 24 hours. But yeah. So that's just some interesting things there. That we have Katie Manning, who's met up with Susan Twist. But the thing is, they're not filming anything right now that we know of. So that kind of throws things to the weird side but yeah, Joe Martin's met Shooty got one, but cannot talk about it. And Chloe Grace Moretz from Kick-Ass came out as gay. I'm like, and it's like, why did the rest of the world have to know? Does it matter? Like I said, I'm not going to go running, jumping off. I know exactly. That's why I don't understand that. Why was this news? Why does it have to be news? It just, sad though that sometimes, folks feel it necessary to come out and say things like this, because maybe the career is going downhill. But I'm like, I'm not saying you shouldn't be proud of who you are, but don't do it just to try to gain notoriety. It's... Oh, yeah, I mentioned that a while back. Joe Martin's going to be in Big Finish. Chloe Grace Moretz, you remember her from movies like Kick-Ass and other things like that, but... See, I live in a world where I don't care. As long as you're enjoying yourself and you're not harming yourself or others, it's none of my business. I never watched 30 Rock. I've heard good things about it, but... Yeah, Moffat, apparently, I don't know. It is checkmarked, but apparently he does have an X account. Or the platform formerly known as Twitter. So, it's kind of nice, if he, maybe, he's putting his Musk in the sacred Elon. I don't know. Yeah, I saw that the other day, and it took me a minute to realize that it does have a verification check. I'm like, because he left pretty much all of social media years ago, and then he was back on Instagram, and then but it's nice to see he's reemerged back on the more. And it's like, the sad part was he left it because he was getting threats against him and his family. And I'm sorry, but there's no TV show on planet Earth that gives you the right to threaten somebody because you don't like the way they did things. I love it when people attack actors for how villainous their characters are. They're actors. portraying a fictional character. It just drives me insane. Oh, yeah, that's right. The watch-alongs, yeah, a couple of years ago. I forgot about those. Back in the ancient time of the COVID plague. I know it seems like 100 years ago, don't it? But I had like 2 months off from work and accomplished absolutely nothing. And I should have been doing the channel during them, but I was just kind of like I crawled into a hole, and but that's a whole other story. I don't know. I've been trying to, I've been thinking about going back to do, Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. It just seems like I never keep track of it. It's just, I've been meaning to go back over. I haven't listened to the Four Doctors in a long, long time now. If I remember right, that's the one with 5, 6, 7, and 8. And it's been a few years since I what the hell was that? I listened to that one, so. Yeah, because I remember when, Silly Wee Films just brought up a good point. I remember when people were attacking RTD towards the end of his reign. This is the guy who brought back the show. And now that he's back, it's like, they're marching on, RTD's castle with torches and pitchforks. And it's like, dude, he's doing the exact same thing he did years ago. Well, not exactly the same, but still, it's like not everything you're going to write is going to be, knocked out of the ballpark, It's, there's things that look good on paper, and there's things that, like I said, just ask J. Michael Straczynski about Gray 17 is Missing. He'll tell you all about that. Yep. Because if Chibnall hadn't have stepped in, we've heard this from a few places now. They were going to rest the show. And a lot of people seem to think that the show needs a hiatus. And I'm like, really? What do you think's going to happen if they did decide to put Doctor Who on hiatus? It's, it's just going to take a small vacation in Acapulco and be back in a couple weeks. No, it's... Exactly. Thank you, Who's Books. Those could have been the last episodes. If it hadn't been for Chibnall, being talked into coming in. Because he didn't want to do it. He'd seen how RTD and Moffat have been treated. And the second this guy agreed to do it, and the second he said, I'm bringing in a female doctor, war was declared in the chat rooms. It was a bloody mess of bad grammar, wrongly placed colons, and exclamation points and other things I don't even know that come from a keyboard. I'm like, it was... Yeah, I don't blame Moffat at all for not wanting to come back and do it. Especially, I was just glad he wrote a couple episodes, here and there, because I never thought he'd even do that after the way he was treated. Okay, here's the thing. I've been asked this for weeks now. Who am I going to vote for? I'm probably not even going to vote. Because every few years it's the same thing. Tweedledum or Tweedledummer, and then your mission in life is to figure out who's Tweedledum and who's Tweedledummer. It's like American elections have literally become choosing between the lesser of two evils, which is kind of sad. Like I said, you can endorse who you want to endorse. I'm not going to say one way or the other, because that's your decision. That's your choice. I'm not going to say, well, you should do this. I'm not kidding. Even let's say there was a 1 in 1 millionth chance I got offered to run Doctor Who, I wouldn't do it. Even if they offered to pay me like $1 million or $1 billion a year. Oh, we're going to move you to a new home here in the UK. And I'm like, is it a bunker? And is it, like, nuclear shell proof? Even then, I wouldn't do it. Because the second you do one thing that doesn't toe the line, which is interesting because other showrunners have done everything that everybody's complaining about right now before, they turn on you. It's just, well, folks, I have got to get back. I got to get inside. I'm actually running a couple minutes past where I should have went. And I got to get the umbrella ready because it is a rainy one. Fahrenheit. And so take care, everybody. Enjoy it. Remember, there will be no parking lot tomorrow because we're off for presidential election. So, and next Monday we'll be off. So take care, everyone. Be kind, be calm, be safe. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thankfully, my Monday leads to a day off afterwards. Otherwise, I'd put my head in a ringer. I'd smile while I was doing it. Take care, everyone. Have a good one.